Greetings everyone, welcome to Just Advanced, and this is another amazing game from FIDE Swiss 2025. With the white pieces, we have the magician Divya Deshmukh. With the black pieces, we have Ivan Cheparinov. He's a very strong grandmaster, and this game is going to be a very tough one. So without further ado, let's start with this game. Here, Divya starts with e4. We have c5, knight to f3, e6, and c3. We go into the Alpine Sicilian, and this is going to be a really interesting match. Here, knight to f6, c5. Here, just knight to d5, d4, c captures, and just d6. And I'm challenging those central pawns, bishop to c4, and bishop to e7. It's always important to end the tournament on a very high note. So if Divya is able to get a win here with the white pieces, it's going to be amazing for her confidence. So let's see how this goes. Here, just castles, queen to e2, and just a6. Knight to c3, we have d captures, knight caps on c3, b captures. So trading a lot of pieces here right from the opening. And it's always not good to trade pieces, but when in the end game, after you've traded the pieces, you have the bishop pair, you have amazing chances to win. So here, just b5 by Ivan. And now in this position, hey, bishop to d3 was played, but you could also go for a very nice line with queen to e4, targeting the rook there. So first of all, you have to move the rook to a7. Now you go bishop to d3, and now you are threatening checkmate. So not many ways to defend it. Either you go here, but that would be a blunder. So now just comes g6, but here after bishop to h6, rook to e8, and rook a to d1. There are a lot of discoveries in this position. You have to be very careful. You have to move the queen out of the way, and I think Divya would have really liked this position. But you're in the opening phase. Most likely here, either she didn't like this or either she didn't want to go for this, but I think what it was different from what she has prepared, so maybe just not going for this right away. So here, just bishop back to d3, but now just comes bishop to b7. This bishop will be on this very strong diagonal now, and you have to be very careful, because if you move the queen, your pawn gets doubled. Yes, sometimes it can be useful because you want to attack here, but not every time, and with the bishop pair it will be a little difficult. So here, just a4, trying to destabilize black's position. Now we have knight to d7, a captures, knight captures. We have bishop to c2, a captures now. And the thing is that you could actually go for a trade of rooks here in this position, no issues. You could even get the bishop into the game, and that's exactly what was played. You have to get the bishop into the game, because if now you don't play this, then that rook is hanging. Also, you have to get the bishop into, the game as well. So here, just bishop to e3, queen to c7 now. But now just comes, you can actually go for this queen caps on b5. This is the gambited pawn. In Alpine Sicilian, in this line specifically, you're not supposed to be capturing that pawn. In the entirety of this line, if I could have shown you earlier as well, but there is no point, because now it's basically an opening line. So here you cannot capture this pawn, but here surprisingly you can capture it, and Engine doesn't mind as well. So now most likely what's going to happen is bishop caps on f3, g captures. Here rook caps on a1, rook captures, and queen caps on e5. Most likely this is a little bit better for white, not that much, but just a little bit. But still, I think it would have been fine here. I don't think there is any issues even after capturing the pawn. So I think not much. But even if you are not giving up the bishop pair, just looking at this position, yes, the rook gets into the game with the tempo, and if you don't capture it, yes, the rook can get into the game, but I think there could be some stipulations with the position as well. But here after queen to c7, we have bishop to d4. Now just centralizing the piece. Always when you have the bishop pair, try to centralize it. Now just comes this queen to c6, and if you move the knight away, there could be chances of thick checkmate. But just h4, and h4 again, always the Divya inclusion in the game. This is basically Divya, an absolute attacker by her nature. Now just comes h5, and we have rook f to b1. Now just rook captures, and going for this. So trading both the pair of rooks, or asking for a trade at least. Now comes rook to b1, just targeting that pawn, and if you're able to get that pawn for not much problem in your position, you'll be absolutely fine in this position. So here after rook to a5, we have c4, now asking for that trade, but just b captures, queen captures, and going with the knight back. The problem with actually trading in this position is that you could trade basically, but you have to understand then you're facing the wrath of the bishop pair. This bishop can get into the game. The rook is already on a nice file. Your bishop pair is not doing that very much, and the problem would be that your pieces are not that active. Well, black can get those pieces active, and with this pawn being so outside, or not just outside, this pawn being so bad, because it's attacked twice. And first you just remove the defender here. Basically, whatever move you play, let's say you play rook to e1, you just remove the defender, and then you can start attacking that pawn, and it's going to be a little bit difficult defending. Most likely it would still turn out to be a draw, but it's still very much difficult. Let's say you play this, captures, you can understand already you have double pawns. This pawn is weak, this pawn is going to be weak, bishop can be attacked, so just a little bit troublesome. But here after knight to d7, we have queen to b3. That's why I'm not trading queens, and she took a lot of time here. When I say a lot, I mean a lot, because she went for like I think of 25 minutes, and that's really huge. Here just bishop to a8, but now just comes queen to d3 and just g6. So stopping checkmate, and also just getting this very nice pawn structure. Now bishop to b2, we have rook to c5. Instead of this rook to c5, you could go rook to d5 here, attacking the queen, and that would be fine as well. That was the best move in this position. Queen to e2, now just rook to c5, attacking the bishop once again. So a lot of moves with the rook, but if it works, then why not? And here once you go with the bishop engine is giving a slight bit advantage to black because the pieces are so active. You're already eyeing this is already connected. You can get the knight into the game, maybe knight can jump in here, and if you're able to get the bishop active as well, your position would be absolutely spectacular. So maybe that is why engine is giving, but it's just 0.6. I mean, you most likely would end up in a draw either way. But here after bishop to b2, we have rook to c5. Now just comes this rook to a1. So saying that if you trade my bishop, I'm just going to be capturing yours. But now just comes this rook captures. Rook caps on 8, and now just going for this knight to f8. If you go for queen captures, then just queen captures, and you can understand you go into a very, very drawn endgame. So here, Cheparinov still keeping his chances open. Here, rook to a6, queen to c5, bishop to d4, and rook to c1 check. King to h2, queen to d5. Here, queen to e3, rook to c4, and rook to a7. Now just comes knight to d7, king to h3, king to g7, and just queen to d2. Bishop to d8 now, bishop to e3, and just queen captures, bishop captures, and now hey, most likely this position is heading towards a draw, but let's see what happens here. Bishop to c7, now just comes bishop, asking for a trade of bishop, bishop captures, rook captures, now rook to f4, and now you can play a lot of moves in this position. You can even go for a move like just going and attacking the rook, and wherever the rook moves now, even if you want to try and push in this position, most likely what you'll do is basically, if I go for rook to a3, you just want to go in, and knight looks absolutely spectacular there. So position would be absolutely fine, but still, most likely still, even then, it would be a draw. That is very difficult that you can do, even with the pawn structure and pawns being a little bit isolated. But here, just rook to a3 was played. Now just comes rook to e4. We have rook to e3, rook captures, f captures in. Yes, you have double pawns, but there is no even way to actually attack them. So here, just knight to c5 was played, g3, king to f8, and just king to g2. So both players being extra cautious here, but still there is nothing to be cautious about. This is a dead draw game. King to e7, knight to g5, and now just comes knight to d3, knight to f3, and knight to c5. So you could go for a draw. I mean, the trouble is you can actually go for this very nice variation with not going for this here by going for maybe f6 if you want to push, but I mean, there is no point. I mean, it's been a long tournament. It's you get so tired here that you don't even want to push and try for anything. But either way, it would have ended in a draw. So here, both players after repetition agreed to a draw. Actually, they would have to play 2 more moves for repetition, but still they agreed to a draw. And with that, Divya Deshmukh played spectacularly here. And with that, the magician Divya Deshmukh played spectacularly, holding Ivan Cheparinov. Really, really strong grandmasters. If you've seen his game, you'd be able to understand a lot of players actually. He was able to also, get a draw with the champion of FIDE Swiss, that is Anish Giri. So you have to understand that he's a really, really strong grandmaster, and not someone to take lightly. And holding him to a draw is a really spectacular feat. Kudos to Divya Deshmukh. Spectacular play by her in this tournament, pushing every game for a win, every game trying here, even here h5. Just having that inclusion in, even after all the pieces were traded, you had the bishop pair, still tried to push, didn't go for pawns. Played spectacular game, great mindset. Never ever I saw her after a loss being devastated or being sad. She just came the next day with a new mindset, with saying like, it's a new day, I'm going to be playing my spectacular chess. And that's the mindset you want when you are a champion, and that's the mindset she has. That is what she has perfected over the years, and that's why she's getting the absolutely amazing results, getting win against Basim Amin, win against Velimir Ivic, and now here holding so many 2600s to a draw, getting those crucial 20 plus rated points. I mean, this is a spectacular tournament and amazing display of power here by Divya, saying that she can do it too, inspiring a lot of girls at it as well. And I mean, spectacular play. Huge kudos to her, and really a huge fan of her work myself. I mean, playing spectacular here. That rook caps on g4, I mean, that game is etched in my memory now. I will be analyzing it, I'll be keeping it in my database as well. I mean, it's amazing play against Basim Amin. That was spectacular. And yeah, amazing play by her. Really, she's writing her history here herself, trying to push every game for a win, just playing like the absolute legends, playing like Judith Polgar, just routing in the same mindset, in the same way, and now just on the way to become one of the absolute legends here, like Mikhail, like Capablanca, like Morphy. That's absolutely amazing, and definitely she's going to be that. She's going to be one of the best talents that will be coming out of India in a few years, and going to be on the absolute top of her game as well. And candidates is coming up, and with the level of play that she's been showing, I'm really thinking that she might just be it. She might just be winning it as well, and it's going to be absolutely spectacular to see a women's champion here, and in the face of Divya Deshmukh. It would be absolutely spectacular, and this is definitely history being made. We have really a world chess champion in the making here in the face of this spectacular player Divya Deshmukh, inspiring a lot of young girls, inspiring a lot of players, and playing in the open section, one of the best decisions she's ever made. And I hope she continues with this mindset, because she's absolutely crushing it and on the top of it, and about to reach the pinnacle of chess. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll be coming back with such amazing games, so stay tuned to the channel, stay updated, and I'll be seeing you guys very, very soon. Thank you very, very much for watching.